Hi everybody, let's continue with Bretton Woods system. In the last video, we studied the content and characteristic of the Bretton Woods system. In this video, we'll examine the reason and process of the breakdown of the Bretton Woods system. The breakdown of the Bretton Woods system has two reasons. Superficial reason is that heavy capital outflows of dollar and eventually this overhang of dollar held by foreigners created a lack of confidence in the U.S. ability to meet its obligation. Deep reason is the asymmetrical rights and obligations between the U.S. and other countries. The obligation to maintain the exchange rate stable was given to countries other than the United States, so the U.S. had the privilege of having independence of monetary policy, where other countries lost their monetary policy's independence. Their obligation was to maintain the exchange rate stable by sacrificing the autonomy of their domestic monetary policies, which made the monetary policy the vessel of exchange rate policy. For the United States, its obligation was to maintain the official dollar price for gold and exchange dollar for gold at the member country's demand. However, the obligation was decided by the United States itself. Obviously, its implementation could only be ensured partly and literally. And because of the Triffin paradox, which was inherent imperfection of the institution, the Bretton Woods system was destined to collapse finally. Let's review the process of Bretton Woods system's evaluation and breakdown. At the initial operating years of Bretton Woods system, the United States was the largest export country in the world, and its BP was in surplus. The international society was confident with US dollar. Every country felt it was in short of US dollar, especially for some UN countries which was facing the post-war rebuilding. There was dollar shortage during the initial post-war years. The demand for US dollar from the international society was beneficial to the US, making it could carry out the policy of expansionism, increasing its overseas investment and international loan by issuing short-term bonds. The Marshall Plan provided loan aid valued $27 billion for European countries, and more American large overseas military expenses and domestic low interest rate policy caused huge US dollar floating out of the US. During 1952 to 1960, the US dollar reserve kept by countries was much larger than American gold reserve. Thus, dollar shortage turned into dollar glut. Dollar crisis referred to the gold reserve of the U.S. was less than the short-term debt of the U.S., which resulted in selling of U.S. dollar for gold or other hard currencies. Member countries' dollar reserve was in fact the U.S. debts. During the period of Bretton Woods system, there happened several dollar crises. In 1960, the first dollar crisis was broken out. U.S. short-term debt $21.03 billion was larger than its gold reserve, about $70.8 billion. From the data, we can see at that time, the gap between the U.S. debt and gold reserve was not that much. But in 1968, the second dollar crisis was broken out. In 1971, the third dollar crisis was broken out. The gap of the U.S. short-term debt, which is $67.8 billion, and its gold reserve, which is $11 billion, had increased to a much larger extent. Compared with the data in 1960, the debt increased from 20 to almost $70 billion, while the gold reserve decreased from 18 to $11 billion, because during the period, some gold was used to exchange for dollars from other countries. On 5th August 1971, U.S. President Nixon launched out new economic policy to stop gold exchange and to impose 10% import additional tax. In February 1973, the first dollar crisis broke out and caused the breakdown of Bretton Woods system. The Bretton Woods system worked well post-World War II, but due to the instinct defects of the system, the symptoms of its short life showed up soon. The world experienced 4 times of dollar crisis and evolved from dollar shortage to dollar glut. There existed several important time nodes during the process of breakdown of Bretton Woods system. After August 15, 1971, exchange rates of most leading countries were allowed to float in relation to the U.S. dollar. By the end of 1971, most of the major trading currencies had appreciated vis-a-vis the U.S. dollar. That is, the dollar depreciated. A year and a half later, the dollar came under attack again and lost 10% of its value. By early 1973, a fixed rate system no longer seemed feasible, and the dollar, along with other major currencies, were allowed to float. By June 1973, the dollar had lost another 10% in value. This figure shows the inflation rate of U.S. during the period of 1964 to 1972. It can be seen the trend of U.S. inflation rate was upwards till 1970. This graph shows United States current account surplus. Obviously, during the period, the United States turned from a net export country into a net import country. This exhibit shows United States money supply growth rate during the same period. We can say in most years except 2 periods from 1965 to 1966 and from 1968 to 1969, the rate was increased. This picture shows the IMF's nominal exchange rate index of dollar during the period from 1957 to 2007. It can be observed during the period of Bretton Woods system. The dollar changed from slow appreciation to rapid depreciation. Afterwards, during most of the period, the dollar was depreciated rather than appreciated except the period's half period of 1980s. In this part, we analyzed and summarized the reason for the collapse of Bretton Woods system. Heavy capital outflows of dollar from the United States is just a superficial reason. The deep reason is the symmetrical rights and obligations between the U.S. and the member countries, and the driven paradox that the United States was faced. Then, we reviewed the process of Bretton Woods system's breakdown. That's all for the section. Thank you.